Do you ever find yourself playing the same thing on the drums over and over? Me too. In this video, we're going to go through a few ideas just to get a bit more creative and to get more out of your playing on the drum set. Drumming is so vast. There's so much you can do on a drum set. You've got 5 drums most of the time. You've got a whole bunch of cymbals. You've got 2 hands, 2 feet. There are a million things that you can do. It just takes a bit of brain work to bring those things out and to just think of what you can do. So I'm going to go through 5 quick tips today on getting a bit more creative, and I'm just going to give examples of those tips and I'm just going to see what I can do with them. I'm not going to go too deep in. I'm just going to give you the idea and then I'm going to give an example. So let's jump right in. First idea for getting creative is just to do something weird on the drums. Do something that is completely just out of the normal. It could be something like taking a cymbal and flipping it over. It could be using something that's not a drumstick to actually play the drums. What I thought about doing is just taking a rack tom and putting it on the snare drum and seeing what that does. I found out that it made the drum sound much lower and it sounded quite cool. It brought out some ideas because of that fat sound. So this is what that sounded like. Next idea to bring out some creativity is just to switch up the speeds at what you play things at. A lot of the time, us drummers, we tend to play the same thing over and over, and we actually just play the same tempos over and over. You may not realize it, but you may just be stuck playing from 80 to 100 BPM, and that's what you do every time you sit at the kit. So take a metronome and intentionally either drop a tempo or raise the tempo and just see what happens. I'm so used to playing things fast and I struggle to slow down. I just want to sit and I want to blaze on the drum kit. So yeah, in this example, I'll just slow the tempo down and play some slow grooves. Next tip would be to just change your drum setup. This is a very common thing that drummers will suggest you do to get a bit more creative. It is crazy how you can just change one thing on your drums and suddenly you are able to just think and play many different things with that one change. Drummers may take their rack toms and swap them around just to see what that sounds like. Instead of going from smallest to biggest, there's now a bit of a tonal change in the toms, which sounds quite cool. What I'm going to do here as an example is I'm just going to take a floor tom and I'm going to whack it to my left. So now I got a floor tom on my right, I got a floor tom on my left. I'm just going to see what happens then. This felt quite cool to play, so check it out. Another tip for increasing creativity is to limit yourself. I could do a whole video on this just this topic that would be like 30 minutes long, because I'm very, very passionate about it. But I think the key to creativity is boundaries and limitations. So if you limit yourself, you're going to be forced to see what you can do within that limitation. So what that looks like on the drums is take one hand or one foot and do something and stick with that. Repeat it over and over and over so that that hand is eliminated. And then while that hand is doing that thing, see what else you can do with the rest of your limbs. The example I'm going to put here, I totally stole from Mike Johnston, is just to play quarter notes as cross sticks on the snare. And then while that keeps going, I'm just going to see what I can do with the rest of my limbs. Final tip for increasing creativity is just to get better. What I mean by that is just the more things you can play on the drums, the more you can do, the more you can play, the more you can think of. If you got a bigger vocabulary on the drums, you're gonna have more things in your mind to pull out when you're playing. So if you just practice and improve on the drum kit, your creativity is naturally going to improve. That is all we're going to do today. Those are 5 quick tips. What I might end up doing is elaborating on each of those as videos themselves and giving practical examples. Just let me know if you want that and then I'll do those videos. But yep, thanks guys. I'll see you in the next one.